authoritarianism during those years. And it's very, very difficult to read that section. There's not a single person who worked on the book who read that section and didn't say, whew, that was a really hard read, because we came so close. And it really shows in that section.
Yeah, I mean, it was, I feel very much the same way you do, by the way, that, someone asked me once, why do you live tweet his press conferences? Why are you writing this stuff? And I'm like, because somebody has to. This all has to be written down. Because otherwise we just say, well, it was a weird time.
You forget just how bad it was. Even somebody like me who lived it pretty thoroughly. I looked over some of that stuff and the statements that the former president made and the degree to which we have become, as you say, complacent about things even today, like the declaration that the then chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Mark Milley, had committed something akin to treason by refusing to be loyal to President Trump at the time, although he was, in fact, communicating with members of the Defense Department and had their approval for his conversation with his Chinese counterparts. And then to have the former president say that should be punished, that in the past treason had been punished with death, the clear implication being that the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most powerful military man in the United States and therefore in the world, should be punished by death if he was not loyal to Donald Trump. That right there should have been headlines for months. And it didn't even make it above the fold in some of our legacy newspapers.
Why do you think that is? Because one of the things that I've wrestled with in years of writing about Trump and reading you've written and others, I don't want to say, well, we've just gotten used to it. But there is almost this kind of dismissal of what he says. This goes back to the infamous, taken seriously but not literally. But you have to take him seriously. I mean, you have to, this is someone who really is laying out a plan to destroy the Constitution.
Today, just today.
I haven't checked online, but 10 minutes ago.
There were two things today.
But how do you think he accomplished that? I mean, how do you think that happened? Because you talk a lot about the use of language and memory. And I want to get to that. Of course, we had a little chat before, and I definitely want to talk about nostalgia, because I think it's such an interesting point you raise. But I still find myself amazed that things that would have been show-stopping scandals and, impeachment or, a national and ongoing national crisis. I always say that we're in the middle of a national crisis. It's not over. How do you think they accomplished that, Trump and his team and the Republicans?
Well, I think we have to talk about the media and put that aside and talk about that. But I think one of the ways that they managed to do it, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this, is by declaring ahead of time that they were doing it. I mean, it really wasn't done in secret. So it was very hard, I think, for people to say, oh, gee, he really shouldn't be doing that, when he would come out and say, yeah, I'm gonna break the law. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. And it was hard, I think, for people to listen to that and recognize the enormity of it, because it was presented as normal behavior.
And the media has a normalcy bias that he couldn't possibly have meant that. This is political rhetoric. It's just part of running for president.
But that this was something that was theorized pretty thoroughly around the time of World War II. That if you made a lie so big or you made a statement that was so big that people couldn't believe anybody would lie about something that big, that you got away with it. Because, the comparison I always talk about with my students is, if your roommate steals $20 from you, you get mad about your roommate stealing $20. But if your roommate wipes out your entire family, sells their home, gets your parents thrown out of work, the whole thing, so that they are destitute, you can't believe somebody would actually do that. So it's much harder to react to that and to believe that it really happened than it is just to have someone steal a 20. It was just all so enormous.
One of the most useful books I read at the beginning of all this was